Okay, we're going to talk about TC's flagship FireWire audio interface, the Studio Connect 48. Now this is actually the FireWire audio interface that I choose to use in my own studio and have done for quite a while. And obviously from that you can probably gather that it's aimed at pro producers and studios. So let's look at some of the great features that this unit's got now. Okay, let's start by talking about the extensive I/O that we've got available to us on the Studio Connect 48. Over to the left here, we've got 4 of TC's high-end Impact 2 mic pre's, which sound fantastic. Over here we've got the dual headphone outs with individual level control and source. We've also got on the front panel high resolution input metering, which you can see over here on the right. Now let's turn the unit around and have a little look at what we've got on the back. Over to the right hand side here we've got 12 ins and out, analog ins and outs that are all available simultaneously. We've got a digitally controlled pair of XLR main outputs. We've got a MIDI in and out. Now this is probably very useful in the studio if you've got a pre-USB type of device like a master keyboard or an electric drum kit or something like that. It'll very easily interface without an extra MIDI interface. We've got the ADAT support for up to 96K for 8 channels. We've got an SPDIF digital in and out, obviously the FireWire below here. We've got a dedicated BNC word clock in and out, so you can use this as the master device or clock it to other devices. And we've got the remote control input, which we'll talk about a little bit later. At the heart of the Studio Connect 48 is TC Applied Technologies DICE 2 FireWire chip, which gives us unparalleled FireWire performance and also other innovations like the Jet PLL jitter elimination technology and also an incredibly stable onboard word clock. Okay, so let's talk about the DSP capabilities of the Studio Connect 48. Now for me this is one of the most exciting things on the unit itself. There are a number of other companies at the moment who are doing audio interfaces with DSP, but what really separates the Studio Connect 48 for me is the quality of the DSP on board. We've got the ability to run 4 simultaneous channels of multi-band compression, EQ and de-essing, or any derivative of that, so we can run, as I said, 4 mono, 2 stereo, 2 mono and a stereo, all simultaneously, all running in DSP on the Studio Connect 48, so there's no hit on your computer at all. And obviously that means you can use that in the TC Near software monitoring solution for tracking. We've also got on board a really high quality reverb called the Fabric R, based on algorithms from TC's flagship System 6000. Again, we can use that in the TC Near software monitoring solution for direct monitoring of reverb while we're perhaps tracking vocals. We've also got other plugins that come with it, the Assimilator, the Res Filter, and all these plugins will actually open up as well as in the control panel, but as VST or AU plugins in your host, whatever it is. We've even got a really intuitive guitar tuner built into DSP on board the unit. So when you're in the situation in the studio with a guitarist or bass guitarist and you need to quickly tune up, it's available directly there for you without inserting any other plugin or getting a hardware tuner out, so that's really handy. Also, to finish off, we've also got the hardware integrator plugin, which allows you to integrate other hardware effects devices into your system. Okay, let's talk about what I feel is a real innovation on the Studio Connect 48 and a feature that separates it from the rest of the pack. We've actually got bass management built into the Studio Connect 48, taken from the Dynaudio Air technology. Now what this allows us to do is, if you've got a surround speaker system in your studio, we can actually set the individual level of each of the speakers, we can adjust the delay of each speaker, we've got selectable frequency crossover points for all the speakers, and we can support up to 3 speaker sets. So if you're working in stereo, you could choose between 3 different sets of monitors, or if you're working in surround, you can actually adjust between the speakers and select each speaker to monitor it individually. Now this is a brilliant feature, as I said, for people who are working in surround, because normally this type of thing takes a lot of effort to get set up, and quite often you need extra external equipment to get it sounding as you want. Now also, because of the DSP on board the Connect 48, we can actually store different setups. So if you're a musician or producer who's working in stereo and surround, or at different sample rates, you can easily store these setups in DSP memories on the Connect 48 and recall them at any time. Okay, now I've saved the best bit till last. This is actually the remote control that comes as standard with the Studio Connect 48, and from this remote control, which is connected via an Ethernet cable, we can pretty much control every aspect of the Connect 48 right from our desktop, or perhaps you might want to take it into your vocal booth if you're tracking. You've got direct control of pretty much every area of the Studio Connect 48 right from this device. You can see in the middle here we've got this big volume knob, which is fantastic because it's got control of your main speaker set. We can actually, as we've already talked about, control up to 3 different speaker sets from the Studio Connect 48, and we can choose those speaker sets from here and control their level individually. Now this volume knob also becomes a MIDI encoder if we press it and put it into encoder mode, so we could set up other features for perhaps controlling our DAW directly from the remote control. We can set the preamps up, the 4 Impact 2 preamps, directly from this unit. We've got an inbuilt talkback microphones, which is fantastic, so if you've got a separate vocal booth or recording area, you can talk directly to the performers with this unit without an extra microphone. It's obviously a very compact design, and we've got an LED light ring that runs all the way around the outside of the big volume knob in the middle here. Now one of the other great features is, as we've already talked about, there's a DSP guitar tuner built in. When you actually go into guitar tune mode, you can actually see the guitar tuning on the LED light ring around the outside here as well, so you don't have to be looking at your computer screen. So basically this allows you to control the whole of the Studio Connect 48 directly from your desktop or anywhere else you might want to take it in the studio, and it's a fantastic thing to have as standard with the Studio Connect 48.